we're looking at putting it all together today. You're going to need your Apuntes 3 notes, and I'm going to do examples from each section. So you'll also need your homework. I will start with section 15, okay? Section 15 is a conversation between Fernando and Claudia. And that's going to be really important to remember because you want to put yourself in the shoes of the person speaking and think logically about what it is that you want to say when you're trying to choose the forms of ser. So what I've done for you is I put a ser chart up here in the corner so that you can refer back to it, okay? Bueno, Claudia, ¿cómo blank tus clases? So the first thing I'm thinking when I'm reading this is what exactly does Fernando want to know about? Fernando is inquiring about her classes, right? So we need to pick the form of ser that matches clases. All right, so clases is a thing. It's not going to be soy because that's I am. It's not going to be eres because that's you are. He, she is, we are, they are. So where exactly does classes fit? Remember I told you that in this bottom section, anytime you want to talk about a thing, you use this bottom section, okay? So S is going to be for anything singular and son is going to be for anything plural. If we're talking about classes, that's something that is plural. So we would put son in the blank, okay? Let's look at the next one. Claudia answers back, uf, tengo mucha tarea. Las clases blank difíciles en este colegio. All right, so she's like, oh my gosh, I have so much homework. The classes blank hard in this school. So what again is she speaking of? She's talking about las clases as well. So what did I say? If it's a thing, we're automatically in this bottom section right here and we're asking ourselves, is that thing, las clases, singular or plural? And it's obvious, es obvio, that las clases is plural. Am I right? Why is it obvious? Well, because las is plural, it ends with S, and so does classes. So the answer we want to put in the blank is son. This is the way that you think about each one of those, unless you're just like a genius and you're going with it. You get it. But if you don't, you want to find what they're talking about and then pick the correct form of ser to match. Next section, section 16, agreeing adjectives with nouns, okay? You guys should be whizzes at this. This is just like picking articles, all right? La profesora Alonso es. How are we going to get to the answer? First thing is we're asking ourselves, who or what am I describing? So who are we describing? We're describing la profesora Alonso. La profesora, okay. Is what I'm describing masculine or feminine, singular, plural? What I'm describing happens to be feminine. And how do I know that? Because I see la profesora. So I'm obviously talking about a female teacher. All right, I'm keeping that in mind. And the next I want to think about my rules. All right, so la profesora is obviously singular and it's plural. So I'm looking for a word that's singular and plural. Inteligentes? No, couldn't be because it is plural. Baja? No. Well, la profesora baja. Let's see. Moreno? No, couldn't be moreno. Why? Because it ends in O. That makes it masculine. And simpática. Those are our answers. Baja and simpática because both of these words are feminine and singular. Let's look at the next one. Las novelas de Mark Twain son. My first question again, looking up here. Who or what am I describing? We are describing las novelas de Mark Twain. Las novelas. Okay? So let's look at that. Las novelas is masculine or feminine. Remember, if you get caught up looking at the noun, you can always look at the article. Las novelas is feminine. Look at las. That's feminine. All right, now we're asking ourselves, is it singular or plural? It's obviously plural because it ends in S. So we want words that are singular we want words that are plural and feminine. Okay? So let's look down here. Difícil? No. Why not? Because it's not plural. Cómicas? Perfect. It is both feminine and it's plural. That's awesome. Interesantes? That raises a brow. Could be. Aburrida? Definitely not because it's singular. So let's go back to interesantes. It ends in ES. It doesn't have an A on it. But let's think about rule number 2. If it ends in a consonant or an E, you don't change it according to gender. So the answer would be B and C. Cómicas and interesantes. If you got that right, you're on a roll. You don't even need my help anymore. Let's look at section 17, which is almost the same thing. You're going to ask yourself the same questions. Who or what am I describing? Is the thing I'm describing masculine, feminine, singular, plural? And then think about the rules. Mi clase favorita es la geografía porque es All right, so we have a huge sentence here. My favorite class is geography because it is interesting. All right, so we want interesting to match what? What are we talking about? What are we describing? If you said mi clase, you're right. We're describing the clase. We're not necessarily describing geography. The word that we're describing is the class. Mi clase favorita. Okay, so our adjective is interesante. Is this thing masculine or feminine? Clase is definitely feminine. Remember, it was the one exception to the rule. And is it singular or plural? It's singular, and we know that because there's no S on it. So what are we going to do with interesante? Hopefully you said leave it the same. Remember, it ends in E. This is rule 2, if it ends in a consonant or in E. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is where you start putting everything together. The gusta, the S, and all that other stuff. You start putting it all together. Okay. ¿Por qué no te gustan los exámenes? So you have to answer this question. What it's asking is, why do you not like exams? So we want to make a sentence that says, I don't like exams because. So we're thinking about this chart. Because we want to say, I don't like it because it is this or that. So how do I say I don't like? This is the easy part. No me gustan. What is it that we don't like? We don't like los exámenes. And then we're going to say por qué, because that's because. Now we need to think about because of what. Los exámenes is a thing, so immediately we're dropping to our bottom section and we're thinking es or son. Los exámenes, plural, so we are going to use son. Porque son, whatever, difíciles, or in whatever word you want to use. I said difíciles. No me gustan los exámenes porque son difíciles. Now look what I did here with the los exámenes, because you don't have to have this word in there. You can simply say no me gustan porque son difíciles. Okay? And look what I did with difíciles as well. You have to make sure that this adjective matches the noun that it's modifying, okay? Next question. ¿Por qué te gustan los deportes? Why do you like sports? So we want to make a sentence that says, I like sports because. Me gustan, that's the easy part. Los deportes, you are basically rewriting this sentence. All you're doing is changing that te to me. Me gustan los deportes, and then we're going to include the new word, which is por qué. Me gustan los deportes porque. Now we come over here to our chart. It's a thing, because we're talking about los deportes, so we need to decide es or son. Los deportes is plural, so we want son. Porque son interesantes. Make sure your adjective matches the noun. Interesantes. What is interesantes? Los deportes. I left it out in this one so that you can see both ways. Me gustan los exámenes or me gustan porque son interesantes. Okay, so you should be able to finish that section. Make sure you pay attention to your gusta. You don't have to put gustan if you only like one thing, right? It would just be gusta. All right, next one. Again, we're doing por qué, me te le, gusta, gustan. So we want to say Pepe likes music. All right, so we're talking about music. A Pepe le gusta la música pop. A mí no me gusta. So that's what we want to do. We want to say he likes music, I don't like it. So you want to choose the opposite of whatever it is they're telling you that they chose. So the next one will be to Elena, she likes parties. I don't. So first thing I'm looking at is las fiestas. Las fiestas is plural, right? So we already know that we want to use gustan. A Elena no le gustan las fiestas. A mí me gustan. Así de simple. Bim, bum, bam, bim, bum, bam. Should be easy for you guys. Fin. If you have any more questions, make sure you write your questions down on your homework, and I can answer them for you tomorrow.